Hello and welcome back to From the BO End, the Burnley podcast. This is a rapid reaction to Aston Villa 2, Burnley 1. I'm Simon Evans, with me Justin Conley and Chris Borden. Chris, I'd say that was probably the worst Burnley performance of the season so far. What was your assessment of it?
Harshly, yeah, I'd have to agree. I think, you look back and you think, did we expect to get anything at Aston Villa? Probably not. But you expect to be. I don't expect to be as passive as that. Saying in the week, Villa have had they've had an away game in midweek. It's a good time to take on these sides. They can bring a few players in and this, that, and the other. But I just we're too passive again. You're almost waiting to go 1-0 behind before there's a reaction. We wait to go 2-0 behind until there was a reaction today, and then we haven't got enough firepower to trouble these sides. And it's only when you pull a goal back, whatever it was, 12, 13 minutes to go, and we didn't have a sniff after that either, to be honest. And that to me, I mean, it's to some people it's inevitable. We at the start of the season we go down. I like to think we can compete and have a bit of hope, but that hope's slowly getting engulfed in me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. I think if you're gonna perform with such low expectations and low ambition, you've got to defend better than that. With those two goals we gave away were really poor, weren't they? We seemed to engage in quite a high sort of press on them, but that seemed really easy to play through, and we just kept, even though we're playing this five at the back, we seem to be short a man, at the crucial moments. So I mean, we know Parker's a bit sort of risk averse, don't we? And that kind of worked last season because we weren't playing against sides that were very good week in, week out. I don't think Villa were that good. I don't think they're. I think they're. I think they're probably a bit better than the league position suggests. But I didn't see anything to be frightened of from them. But we just didn't seem to engage with it at all. We just didn't seem to get involved. And like I say, if you're going to play that way and hope for a sort of set piece or a mistake or something, which obviously eventually we got, it's no good waiting until you've, conceded 2 goals to get to that point, is it?
No, I mean, it's like the idea of defending and being very, very cautious and defensive. It doesn't work if your defending's not that good. It's fine if you've got, like I had last season, where we thought these teams aren't going to score against us, but we're not in that situation, are we, Chris?
Well, not at all. But they've made a change, haven't they? They bring Twanzebe just completely out of the blue into the back line. We're told it's not an injury to Ekdal, so fingers crossed it's nothing. Nothing. There's a lot of people suggesting sighting of him, flying home overnight or something. I hope there's nothing, sort of wrong with his family or anything like that. And touch wood. But for then, you're not going to throw Worrell into things because he hasn't got the pace, especially in a side like Villa, whose front three are all about pace. So he brings Twanzebe completely in, and he looks as he he should do. He looks rusty. He looks off the pace. I think he probably made Esteve sort of unsure about himself as well. And he's on the back of the game at City. He's probably got that in his mind as well. And Esteve, had one of those sort of shaky afternoons as well. And he probably thinks he's done enough to force Marlon wide for the first goal. But Dubravka, who week in, week out, is probably one of our better players, if not the best player. He's probably come far too over on that occasion. And, made it a simple slot in the end. But like I said, defensively, we're just not. They played through us there. There's 3 opportunities to win the ball on the right-hand touchline there. We miss all 3, and then one pass, sends Marlon through on goal. It's the structure's not quite right. We seem to be a hybrid. Are we a high pressing side? Are we, sitting in? We're like a bit unsure of our, of our DNA really at the moment.
So many occasions where we're diving in and not getting anywhere near the ball, like a yard away from it, and they're just playing round us. And like you say, that just takes 3 players out of the game, and then we're just short. It just seemed like it's very hard to understand what the what the attacking ambition was in that performance. What was the plan? What was it? Was it just to sort of give it Anthony and see what happened, or what? Because there didn't seem to be much going on, did there?
Chuana offered little, didn't he? But I'd like to see the stats again at full time. So I think half time, in terms of like passes and stuff, we were fairly similar to Villa. But I would imagine our passes were sort of backwards and sideways, and Villa's are looking to get forward. I mean, therein lies the difference. I mean, they have got better footballers than this, and they're over the last couple of seasons they are an elite Premier League side. They're in European competition again, but. I thought we could go there and nick something, maybe a point or something. Again, as I said the other day, we've got to start getting our noses in front, give ourselves a chance. And if we're going to be passive like this, it's not going to get us anywhere, is it?
No, I mean we have to talk about the front line as well. I mean we've clearly questions about the defending today, but Lyle Foster, for me, it's time to just really think again about whether he's the answer up front. I know there's not many alternatives that are like standing out. It's not like we've got some prolific goal scorer waiting to get on the field. We've got Breuer, who again, another flag went up for offside, didn't it? But he didn't know that. And he had a clear chance and totally whiffed it, as Foster had done with a chance in the first half. I mean, Foster, for me, there's that old slogan that's around at Barnfield, isn't there? Maximum effort is the minimum requirement, and it's a good one. I like it. It can apply to your life and all the rest of it. And Foster gives you the maximum effort, but it is only the minimum requirement because there's a lot more you want in the Premier League from a number 9 than what we're getting from Lyle Foster.
Yeah, I think that's true. But again, I would say we lack such ambition today going forward that he didn't have much to play on. But then, when he does get the ball, today it was just bouncing off him, wasn't it? He was unable to control it. It was, he was beaten for pace, and he did, and strength even. I know I'm not denying that he's trying, as you say, but. We need somebody there who's going to be able to hold that ball up and bring other players into it if we're going to play on the back foot all the time. We need somebody who's going to keep it there, just bouncing off him. That's part of the reason why we couldn't get anywhere, going forward. But what are the options? Who would come in?
We say, considering he's to all intents and purposes, he's had a good start to the season. He's only got the one goal, but the goal disallowed against Sunderland that were a perfectly good goal, and he scored the goal. He got another at Old Trafford that got chalked off for a joke of an offside. He scored for his country as well. So when is he going to be confident? Talk about him being a confident player, yeah. But if you're not confident on the back of the start he's made, we saw 2 years ago. Foster with confidence was a handful, but we only really, after he had his mental health sort of layoff and returned. He had that ironically at Villa where he was absolutely magnificent.
He was,
But we're sort of living on this memory now. We scored one goal in the league last season. Was not, couldn't get in the side at most of the time. And then that next year, look, he's our starting man in the Premier League. I was joking just watching Harry Kane scoring again. Kane's a goal a game at the minute. I think Foster's a goal a season, and it's just it's not good enough. It's whether you play, like I say, whether you play 3 wide forwards across the front, whether you bring Fleming into the equation. Broyer's still well off the pace, as you've said. I don't know, but Fleming at least has got a bit of, like I say, he's got himself involved today. He's a bit of physicality, but if you're going to go down fighting, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Conser just, I say, could have had his cigar on today.
Why do we think Fleming has missed out for Foster? Because he was the main man last season, wasn't he? And it, it just seems strange that he just flipped that around this season without any sort of real reason to do so. Fleming's not had much of a chance, has he?
I think he had a knock in pre-season, didn't he? Which probably put him down the pecking order a little bit when things started. So he started with Foster. He's seen some signs from Foster, and he's stuck with him. But I do think it's time now. I think the answer is Fleming. I'm not saying that Fleming's going to revolutionise our attack and make us suddenly a threat, but I don't think we can carry on with Foster at 9. I think give Fleming a go. You know, I mean, if the goal here is to try and stay in touch and at Christmas and then go and sign somebody, let's give Fleming a go. And if that doesn't work, let's get Breuer in there for a start. You know,
it gives you that dead ball threat as well, Fleming, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah, he can do things.
Yeah,
we've seen him. Yeah. We've seen him do things. I think he deserves a chance now, and I want to see him start against Leeds.
So we might as well be playing with Jutkovic up front at the moment, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Do you know, God bless him. And again, another that worked his socks off. And looking at him, had the build, you know, had all the ability, but wasn't going to score your goal at this level. And I don't think, you know, Foster isn't going to score you enough goals, just pure and simple. And if you're not, it's the next cab on the rank, isn't it? You know, let's give someone else a chance.
A different kind of player as well, aren't they? Different kind of, you know, if we are going to play 5 at the back and sit back and, you know, try and when we so often today against Villa, when we won the ball back in our own half, we just gave it. There was nobody. There was nothing to do with it, but give it straight back to them. At least Fleming gives you that option to hit something that it might stick to.
It's time for that experiment. Yeah, time for the back 5 experiment to go as well, isn't it? I think.
Oh, interesting one.
Well, let's get our best footballers on the pitch. Let's get Ugo Chukwu in there with Florentino. He looks, you know, like I said, I think we said it again. He's got that air of a Defoe. He looks on par with his contemporaries at this level. He looks a super footballer, and unfortunately, we don't have enough of his ilk. But let's get Ugo Chukwu in there with him. You know, culling alongside him. I love Laurent. I love the story, the journeyman going on doing well in the Premier League, and he's not let Burnley down. But it's time. You know, if we haven't got a third centre half that's capable of playing at this level, we shouldn't be playing 3 centre halves. I'm sorry. You know,
I'm not sure we've got a second one who is.
No,
to be honest,
but we're playing this system and leaking goals. So you know, we might as well be more of a threat. You can't win really, can you? So like with Vincent, we've bemoaned him going toe to toe and having a go, and we're bemoaning Scott Parker for playing a bit with the handbrake on a touch. So we'll just have to something in the middle, really.
In the middle, yeah.
But it's a fair point when you've got a situation where Ugo Chukwu, who's done well, who looked one of our best players in the early games in the season, is not in the side primarily for tactical reasons of the shape and the formation that we're playing, because it's not on his ability, and he's a better player than Josh Laurent. He is.
Oh, infinitely.
He's choosing to play Laurent in a different role so he can keep the back 5 thing going. I mean, there's a lot I like about that back 5 system, but I'm not sure. You know, you end up playing a Premier League match with Tuanzebe, who's been, you know, like you say, rusty, been out of injured and not just coming into the side, and Josh Laurent. I mean, we'd never have discussed that over the summer that we'll start a Premier League game with Josh Laurent and Axel Tuanzebe as 2 of our centre halves. So you know, there would have been a case for saying, right, okay, let's sacrifice one of those centre-halves and play Ugo Chukwu and Florentino Luis. I mean, on Florentino, I'll just say this, that I think there's no doubt at all he's a quality footballer, and he's not done badly, but I do think he looks a bit off the pace still. I don't think he's quite got used to the rhythm of the Premier League game. I mean, people are going past him a bit more than I expected, or am I being harsh there, Justin?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's doing okay. Obviously, it's a different level, isn't it, to what they're all used to now, and they need to get up to speed. And I think there were 1 or 2 players who might not be quite fit, might not have had a lot of football last season. So there's all that slotting in. It's like Chris says, if you can't maintain a clean sheet with the system that you're playing, then there's something, and the system that you're playing is blunting the attack as well. I mean, I thought the 5 at the back system was designed so your fullbacks could get forward a little bit. They're not doing that, are they? You know, Kyle Walker gets the ball, turns straight around and knocks it back into Esteve or one of the other centre backs. So they, you know, that's not even down the left hand side. We're not really making much progress going forward from fullback. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Ugochukwu is if he's going to get up to speed and Florentino as well needs to get up to speed. He looks like a great player, but you know, again, I don't think he's quite there yet. They've got to play games, haven't they? That's the most important thing. They've got to play games to get there, and you know, I'm all in favour of getting your 11 best players on the pitch, especially, you know, when we're in the situation that we're in, that we need to fight for every single point we can get because nobody's going to give them to us easy.
They aren't. No, I mean, we've got the international break now, Chris, haven't we? And then that game against Leeds, whether it's must win or otherwise, a big one. And at least that gives us now something where through the bloody miserable international break, we can at least look forward to a game we have a chance of winning.
We'd like to think so, wouldn't you? You know, say we took 4 points from them last season, but yeah, they're a different side, aren't they? This season, you know, they're signed a team of giants over the summer, so you know, maybe that's, you know, something to look for. You know, get Ugochukwu in, get Fleming in. You know, Fleming obviously did so well on his debut there last season, but yeah, that's it. Time to plan. I mean, I don't know how many of the lads are away for internationals, except how much time you get on the training ground to sort of bed in a new plan. But I mean, to be fair, to credit the group, you know, the group have shown an adaptability. You know, they can play in different systems. They can play at the drop of a hat. We've got players here who've just come out of they come out of left field almost and dropped in. And yeah, he wasn't really out the races, Twanzebe. But I'm not averse to him featuring more down the line. He has got that pace and know-how at this level. So it's yeah, but you get into that period now, aren't you? Like with Wolves coming up as well. It's we need to be getting points on the board, and I really don't care how they come. To be honest, it's whether we scratch them out, whether whichever way up it, whether we nick games on the counter as we did at Leeds last season. We need, for as well as we've played on the whole this season, we've lost every game other than one. We need to put points on the board.
2. We got a draw against Forest as well, didn't we?
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, that one's.
Easily forgotten.
That's how down I'm feeling today. But yeah, I mean, that's. Again, you're looking at Forest now. Are they ones that might be in and around us? I think nobody gave a shout of them being in trouble. Maybe that's a decent point against a rival come the end of the season, because things aren't heading in the right direction there, are they?
No, they seem to have pressed the self-destruct button there, don't they? But Justin, how are you feeling overall about this season now?
Well, I mean, today's been a bit of a blow, really, hasn't it? I feel very disappointed by the way we performed, by the intensity levels. I didn't expect it to be like that. I thought we'd be up for it. I thought we'd be there in their faces, and we weren't. But I think if you take the whole thing, as one piece, I'm not that disappointed by the way we've started. Certainly started the season better than we did our last Premier League season. And I think there are lots of reasons to be optimistic that we can make a fight of it still. I know we do, as football fans, we do tend to take the last result as being indicative of what's going to happen going forward. And if we play like we did today, we're not going to get much out of it. But I'm hoping that's a one-off more than sort of an indication about how it might transpire going forwards. So disappointed today, but we live to fight it again against Leeds, and if we win that game, then everything changes, doesn't it?
It does indeed. We'll leave it on that positive note. And thanks very much for joining us. And until we speak to you again, up the Clarets.